Hello, welcome to your basic techniques for Doumbek. And this is going to cover all the basic strokes. Before we begin, I want you to take a second and look at your instrument. Now mine is an Egyptian Doumbek, and what you notice that's I think the most important part of the shape is this curved head. So notice that when the head ends, it curves around like this. Now some of you may have a drum head. If it's a Remo or if it's a Turkish style drum, it comes up and it has a flat head like this, and then the head comes across. So notice, is yours a flat head or a curved head? Okay, I'll be giving slightly different techniques for those drums later on in this video. So first thing is sitting and holding your drum. So I'm sitting on a chair and I place the drum. My legs are pushed together, okay? It's really important that you sort of keep your legs together because the drum sits right in between your legs. And this is my left leg because I'm right-handed. And so the drum is kind of going over my left hip and under my left arm. And then I just take this hand and set it on top. I also like to, you can't see it on camera, but I lift my foot a little bit, my left foot, and that way my left leg is slightly higher, and that just helps stabilize the drum too. You can put a little stool down, or put a book if you feel, or I just put it, I kind of go on the toes of my foot, and that helps to stabilize the drum. Now my drum is quite heavy, so it just sort of sits there. That's the ideal kind of Doumbek you want to have, because then you can lift your hands and play more intricate patterns. But if your drum is lighter and it feels like it's going to roll away, or if you start playing on it, it's going to move around, then you'll need to keep your elbow down back here a little bit more. Okay. This hand, this is my left hand, my non-dominant hand is sitting on top and just resting. We're going to start with Doom. Doom is the bass stroke on the Doumbek, and what I imagine is that I'm going to shake your hand, and so my hand is very flat, my thumb is up, and I'm going to take that handshake and I'm going to move it into the drum. I'm going to get really close, let me get the right angle, there we go, and I put my knuckle ridge right in line with this inside ring. You see this here? My knuckle ridge is right in line. My thumb ends up being outside of the drum. Otherwise, you can hurt your thumb by whacking it on the edge. And if this was a clock, this is 12 o'clock. This is 6 down here. So this is about 9 or 3 o'clock, depending on how you're thinking of your clock. And another thing that commonly happens for beginners, when they play a doom, instead of being in this position, they get a little further in. You don't want to be in the center of this drum because it has a dead spot there. That sounds pretty good, but usually it sounds not so good. So I want to make sure I'm on the edge. This would be if you play djembe at all or have, it's like a tone placement. Because this drum is smaller, it needs to be there to get the low bass sound. So here is Doom. You just lift your whole arm. I'm rotating from my elbow and my shoulder. My shoulder's not moving much, but the rotation is happening there. So this is Doom, 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 Doom. A great exercise to practice and say the dooms as you play them, because later when I give you rhythms that are like doom tek 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 doom tek 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 doom tek 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 doom, you'll know which each stroke is. So really grounding that in your mind, in your body. A couple of things that could happen while you're playing dooms, if you get this sound, that means that your fingertips aren't hitting enough. Let's see if I can get the right angle. It's sort of weird. See how the back of my hand's hitting, but the front really isn't? So I want to make sure the whole part of my hand, all of this section of my hand is hitting at the same time. Another thing that can happen is if, like my lower part of my hand, the same thing, kind of gets this muffed sound. I want to get a fundamental low sound, that boom, boom, that describes the sound I want. Now the other thing is that my fingers are held together, and they're held, I have to hold my hand firmly flat. So I'm putting energy into my fingers to keep them together and energy into keeping my hand flat, okay? So it's not super tight like this, but I am putting energy into it. So the doom does have energy coming to my hand. Okay, so practice dooms for a long time. Actually, I recommend practicing them for 2 minutes. Set a timer for 2 minutes and practice that for multiple days before our class. Okay, the next stroke we're going to learn is tek. Tek is with the same hand, so this is my dominant hand. I'm going to use my ring finger, okay? And I want you to look at your finger. Let's see if I can get a good angle. There we go. Where is the nail on your finger? That is the only part of the tip of your finger you want to use. Okay, so where the nail is, it's a little bit, it's like halfway of the top knuckle, okay? And then all I want to do is take my ring finger, I pull my doom straight back. I put my ring finger like so. I'm trying to get the shadow not in, no, I can't do it. There we go. So my nail is just inside that ring. And what I'm going to do is imagine I'm turning a doorknob. I put my ring finger slightly forward. Notice that it's slightly forward from my other fingers, and I turn the doorknob. So my palm is pointing down, and then it turns into the drum. Turn, and I flick it. It's sort of a flicking motion like this. So let's try it. You can leave your finger on. You can lift your finger. Doesn't matter. Whichever way feels best for you. I usually leave it on unless I'm playing really fast, and then I don't have time to leave it on. So this is tek, 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 tek. So try that for a couple minutes. Let me see. Things that can go wrong with a tek. One thing that's very common is your fingers too far in. And you get this kind of halfway between a tek, halfway between a doom sound. You really want that bright sort of bing, tek, tek, tek. So really these sounds that we say describe the sound that we want on the drum. Okay, another thing that can happen is as you're beginning, because you're kind of floating this tek without reference of like your thumbs down, you're going to miss sometimes. So sometimes you might be way off, maybe too far in. So just be patient with yourself. And you really want to start to get a feel for where the tek is on your drum when it's sitting in your lap. Okay. Now a great exercise to do to incorporate both those strokes is to go doom, tek, doom, tek. Moving between, so fingers come together and then spread, right? Together, spread, together. And I'm also going in and out, in and out. And I'm going straight and I'm twisting, straight. So really all those things come together to get that sound. So practice doom, tek, doom, tek. Okay. Our final stroke we're going to learn today is the ka. Now this is where remember how I had you note if you have a flat-headed drum or a curved-headed drum like mine? So the stroke is going to change. I'll show you the flat-headed drum first. So if you have a flat-headed drum, it's a Turkish style, and they designed that drum to be able to do a lot of snaps. Snaps are, okay, you actually snap your fingers. Okay, we're not going to cover that right now. But the best way to do a ka on the flat-headed style Turkish drums, you leave your thumb down, and I'm leaning my hand on this sort of padded side, outside of my hand. And then I take my ring finger and I bring it up. And when I do that, that creates this sort of little tent area where I could fit a little something in there. Could fit an egg or a little mallet or something. So that's the position of my hand, and then I just bring my ring finger back and then down. It's just a quiet ka. but it still sounds good. So you can work that ka. So this is ka. Ka, ka, ka. You hear it in the sound? Okay, so that's for flat-headed. If you have a curved head like me, the way you get the ka is slightly different. This can take a little bit of practice to be able to refine the sound. So what you want to do, first step, is you want to take this outside pad of your hand and you just want to whack it against the side of the drum like this. Okay, before we do that one little note, this is straight up. Okay, I come towards my face and then down, whacking the drum. And this is horizontal. I want to be 45 degrees, so I want to feel like I'm going over my non-dominant shoulder, my left shoulder for me, and coming down. So again, just kind of whacking. Hold your fingers tight. And what you'll feel is like a diving board. It wants to sort of bend when we hit the drum. So now relax your fingers. And that's your basic ka. You want your ring finger to land, but don't think about it. As soon as you think about your ring finger landing, it's not going to work anymore. So really just think about hitting this outside edge at a 45-degree angle, and you'll get this nice ka. Okay, so another practice combination, you can go doom, ka, doom, ka. And then once you get that, you can go doom, tek, ka, doom, tek, ka. All right. That's it for today. Thank you so much. Practice these strokes. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments. I'll try to address them, and we can also address it at our class coming up. All right. Thank you.